In the great land of the United States, if you make money, you have to pay taxes. I always joke with people, they always say, hey, can you cut down on my taxes? And the best way to pay zero taxes is don't make any money. But if you're making money, that's a good thing.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CSI. I'm Jordan, and today we're covering the essential steps every new business needs to take to get set up for success. To help break it all down, I'm bringing in Ryan Clements, one of the key members of our sales team. Ryan's the guy who works with businesses at all stages, startups, growing companies, you name it. He's got the know-how to make sure your business is compliant, registered correctly, set up for maximum tax savings, and built for long-term success. So whether you're a first-time business owner or a seasoned pro starting something new, this video is for you. Let's go talk to Ryan. Hey Ryan, thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here.
So we've talked a little bit back and forth, and it seems like there's a handful of components that all new businesses and even existing businesses need to know. And we've really narrowed it down to 6. The first one being developing a plan for your business. Can you tell everyone what you mean by that?
Yeah. So, I sit down with a lot of different business owners, and the ones that I see that are successful always come in with a plan. They have an idea as to how they're going to make money. They understand that starting a business, there's going to be expenses. There's going to be a lot of things that they're going to have to pay for. How are you going to pay for that? Are you going to get funding? Are you going to get a loan? Do you have money set aside for those expenses? So best thing to do is really think this through and come up with a really good plan as to how you are going to move forward and how you're going to scale the business.
So obviously developing a plan for your business is an important first step, but what's next? Are there other important actions you should be taking right away to make sure your business is set up properly?
Yeah. So a couple different things is in order to do things by the book, you will need to set it up and register with the IRS and get an EIN. In conjunction to that, you will also need to register with the Secretary of State, depending on what state you're going to be conducting business in, where you're going to get a state-specific ID, and also set up the different entity structures that you will be taxed as under or within that business. So one that we see a lot is, especially with like new businesses, very easy to set up is going to be a sole proprietorship. We see that all the time with like a new business with someone that's not very familiar. Great. However, there can be some pretty major tax implications as the business scales, but a really good place to start. The most common entity structure that we see is going to be an s-corp. S-corp, really great, a lot of tax advantages for owners. However, more complicating in selecting that entity and how you're structuring it. And then also the flip side of that is also the compliance requirements, more compliance requirements and how you need to handle and operate under that entity structure. But really great, once again, for the owners that are able to make that election.
Speaking of taxes, can you tell everyone how a business should go about determining what their tax obligations are?
Yeah. So one thing is, in the great land of the United States, if you make money, you have to pay taxes. I always joke with people, they always say, hey, can you cut down on my taxes? And the best way to pay zero taxes is don't make any money. But if you're making money, that's a good thing. But you're also going to have to pay different taxes. The one that I see a lot of people neglect is sales tax. That is something that's very specific to the different states that you may be operating in. So you need to be aware of whether or not your service or product is applicable to sales tax. So do your research on that. If you're not sure, always reach out to a tax professional just to make sure that you are in compliance on that, because that can end up being a big compliance issue for a lot of business owners.
One thing I always hear you talk about is separating your personal and business finances, but can you explain what that actually looks like?
Yeah. So in this case, separating the personal and business, you really have to make a clear line in the sand, if you will, from what the business and what the expenses are of the business and what is personal. Now, there are certain things that we see a lot of business owners paying for on their personal side that they could leverage the business and pay for those expenses, like vehicles, going out and entertaining clients, things like that, meals, or things like that. But what you need to do is really have separate operating accounts and credit cards set up for the business. You will need a EIN and things like that to set up a business-specific banking or checking or savings account, as well as a credit card. So One thing I like to recommend is if you are starting a business, just when you do get everything registered, really just make sure that you have a business account, a business credit card, and keep all of the personal expenses and the personal transactions completely separate.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of important stuff, but the last point is arguably one of the most important for a business's long-term success, and that's setting up accounting and bookkeeping systems. Now, can you explain to everyone the importance of doing this and when they know that it might be time to hire an accounting firm?
Yeah. So, really the accounting systems from an accountant and bookkeeping standpoint is where we are getting the information that we're going to be making decisions off of. This is really going to allow us to generate different reports such as a profit and loss and the balance sheets, and really give you a snapshot in time as to where the financial health of the business is at for that given period. So we really want to understand that information and understand the money that's moving in and out of these accounts. A lot of business owners will try to set up a system, like a very basic system in like something such as an Excel file, but that can prove to be very difficult to manage as the business scales. If you have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 transactions a month, might be fine, but as a business scales and gets more complex and you work with different vendors, you work with different suppliers, you work with different customers, it can be very difficult to track where money is coming from and where money is going. So one thing that we suggest is really trying to set up into an accounting specific software. We use QuickBooks Online. We also use Xero, both really great platforms. But one thing we look to do is try to automate some of the more busy work, if you will, so that we can really sit down and digest the financials and go over that. If you feel like it's very difficult to keep your finances in order at a minimum on a monthly basis, I would recommend trying to find a solution to one, either automate, or two, to really help you to produce some of those financials. And that might be a monthly accountant or just even a bookkeeper.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ryan. This has been really valuable to all the business owners out there.
Awesome. Well, I hope it is. And if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to someone at our firm. I mean, a conversation is the one thing that doesn't cost anything these days. So a couple of minutes might save you a ton of time and headaches down the road. Also, I would encourage anyone that does have some questions to just jump on our learning center. We have a ton of resources for a lot of business owners at all stages of business ownership, whether they're a new business, they're just starting off, or they're an existing business that's looking to make some changes. So I would recommend spending some time on there. But like I said, doors always open, phones always work. So if you have a question, feel free to reach out and we'll get you squared away.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. See you next time.
Thanks, Jordan. And thank you guys for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.
Starting a business is super exciting, but it can feel like a lot if you don't have a solid plan. Now, whether you're just getting started or looking to grow, these steps are going to help set your business up for success. And if you're not sure where to start, don't sweat it. Firms like CSI are here to help. And if you're exploring your options, check out our other video on picking the right accounting solution for your business. Oh, and don't forget, we've got a free small business accounting kit that covers everything we talked about today. The link's in the description, so be sure to go grab that. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, subscribe to our channel, drop some questions in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time.